right, so for the second half, we talked about a lot of stuff, just a lot of introductory thing. But now I want to get into some of the education and the composition of hair so that we can understand why things happen. And, I had a lot of really cool questions up here in the front. Y'all should have heard the conversations. That were really funny. So who knows who Andre Walker is? Besides my cousin, Andre Walker. Andre Walker. Anybody know who Andre Walker is? He is, that's right. I heard it over here. You can say it out. That's right. Yeah. That's Oprah Winfrey's hairstylist. He actually came up with the system that we now use, and I use it a lot, which is the texture, how to identify what your texture is. He came up with that, all right? So I use his method in the salon to help other women to understand. I add a little bit to it also just from my personal experiences, but it's really dead on, all right? So we're going to talk about that right now, okay? I'm sure you've all had a lot of questions about who knows what their curl pattern is. You know what your texture is? What's yours? Absolutely not. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. 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 No. Well, she said she was a 4C, but I'm just saying that, okay? But we're gonna talk about it, and then you'll tell me what you think. But no. Anybody else know what their texture pattern is? What's yours? 4C? Uh-huh. I think you're right. I've seen your hair before. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think she's. Now you cooking. All right. So there's 4 major categories. We have straight, wavy, curly, and kinky. Those are the 4 categories. Okay. None of it is negative. And I hear people say, "I'm kinky. Mine is kinky." No, just because it's dry doesn't mean it's kinky. All right. Okay, so that's one thing. We're going to talk about that, all right? So those are the 4 major categories. And what happens with those 4 major categories, you hear people saying, oh, I'm a 1 something, I'm a 2 something, I'm a 3B, I'm a 4C, and all these things. Well, the number is what actually tells you the curl pattern, all right? So category 1, you guys can write this down. This is where you get the ink pens out. Category 1 is straight. It's the straightest texture there is. I don't think so. We'll see. It's the straightest one. It has when you wet the hair, and these are properties I'm talking about when the hair is actually wet. Like if you just dip your hair in some water and let it dry, what happens to the curl without you manipulating? So it's straight hair. That's category 1. Category 2 is going to have a slight wave pattern in it. When you wet it, you lift it up, slightly wavy. And I mean, if you think about an ethnic group or somebody that you may see with that, who do you think of? I'm sorry? Your sister. Well, I see a lot of, like, in white hair, I see a lot of people with that have a slight wave pattern of hair. The straighter textures I see more in Asian people and Indian. A lot of people have a really straight hair. Like when you cut it or you wet it, it just stands straight up. It doesn't have any wave in it at all. Okay, so we have a slight wave pattern, just a slight wave pattern as it dries. Category 3 is going to be a curl. It's going to be a curl. When you wet it, you see the curls, and you just let it dry. You see these curls in it. Category 3, I tell people, is the widest category there is, especially in the United States, our region, because we have so many. We're not really African. We have a lot of mixtures going on. We're gonna water down. It's different. So we have a lot of curl patterns in our hair. So when you wet it, it just curls up. So then category 4 is going to be a tighter curl pattern. But the difference between 3 and 4 is that when you smooth the hair out and you start to let it dry, you'll see an S pattern. So how many of you have actually seen that? Actually, when you smooth the hair out, you see an S pattern in your hair. You see that in your hair. See, now you see why I didn't say you was a 4? Right. When it dries, that's a different story. But it's still 3. That doesn't change it from being a 3. It's still what it is. That's your category. And that's what's going to help you to understand your starting point. That's going to understand the things that you can do, okay? All right? So category 4 is actually a Z pattern. I heard it. Somebody shouted it out, Z pattern, all right? So when you smooth it out and you let it go and it starts to draw back up, it'll be really, really tightly coiled and just real tight, all right? Really packed. Let me see. She's pointing at the baby. That's how hers does? Okay, so yeah, so now that will help you identify. We say all of that because we want to be able to understand where we're starting and what kind of characteristics it has, okay? Category 1, we're gonna go back and talk about the straight hair. It has the most sheen, it reflects the most, it's the most resilient of all hair types. It's hard to damage and difficult to curl. Okay, it's mostly oily. It has the most oily texture there is. So when you're dealing with oils, when we're talking about that, the most oily, we're talking about the sebum that comes from your scalp. What happens is that oil actually slides down the strand, and it hydrates the strand. And when you think about the difference between curly hair and a straight hair, you see people with straighter hair whose hair grows really, really long. It's staying hydrated naturally from the oils that are coming from your scalp because it hangs, and it slides down the oil. The oil slides down the hair shaft. Now, if you have curly hair, is oil sliding anywhere on your hair? No. 9 times out of 10 is not. There are some people that it does. If it's a little bit looser, it'll do that. But in most of our hair, it defies gravity, so it stands up. This is why it's mostly dry all the time, and then we get breakage and those things. So we'll get into that a little bit later, okay? Category 2, the texture and the sheen ranges somewhere between straight and curly. It's more likely to become frizzy than straight hair. So when it's raining out, it gets really frizzy, and you see people say, oh, my hair, I'm not having a good hair day. That's what you're seeing. And it has the slight S pattern as we talked about before, okay? Category 3 is actually known to have an S-shaped pattern, which you talked about. This hair type is usually voluminous, very big, like mine, okay? So it can get really, really big. It's climate dependent. I can definitely tell you that my hair does well in the rain. I love it, you know. If it's hot outside, it'll get straighter on me and real frizzy and kind of bushy. So, you know, how many of you have actually experienced that when you're looking at your hair? So you're thinking about yourself in a 3 category for sure. Yep, definitely, definitely. And it is damage prone, okay? We cannot go in messing with it and comb it and pick it and all that. That causes damage, breakage, and it really destroys the pattern. Anybody got questions so far for me? Okay, and lack of proper care causes less defined curls, meaning I cannot go in flat ironing my hair all the time because when I go wet it, it's gonna stay straight, okay? Too much heat, not heat control, is going to make the hair stay straight. So that's why you see people like myself, when I'm not just walking around like this just because, I mean, I like it, I love it, you know, I think it's beautiful. So I like straight hair too. I do. But I've learned that when I put heat on my hair, it doesn't really like it very much. And I'm doing a waist length challenge, and in order to reach the length I want without damage and breakage, I got to leave it alone and let it do what it's supposed to do and going to do. So, yeah, it's winning right now. Category 4 is categorized as kinky. You know, that's what they call it, kinky hair. It conveys a dry or matte appearance. It's usually very matte. They're all saying, my hair is dry, it's dull, those things. So it's usually matte in appearance. That's normal, okay? It's very prone to breakage when combed or brushed, all right? So you ask yourself, if I'm not supposed to comb or brush my hair, what am I supposed to do with it? What? Did you say? This child said, wear a wig. No. No, because the wigs, I'm going to tell you what happens with the wigs. You put the wig on, and it's okay to wear the wig from time to time, but some people become so dependent on it that you're not only rubbing the edges out, you're not giving your hair a chance to breathe, and it's just kind of helping it to stay drier than it should be. And if it's already dry, and you take the moisture from dry hair, what do you have? A broom straw is what I tell people, and it's going to break. It's going to break off. That's why you see people with shorter hair when you go into those 3 and 4 categories because the moisture is gone and it's nothing to hydrate it on the ends and stay on, okay? All right, and its unique density also makes it very versatile and unlike any other hair texture. The one thing about our 4 category, the 4 C's, when you see the natural hair and they have those styles out and the twist outs and things and you're just absolutely loving it, oh my God, it's so beautiful. That's the 4C category that you see a lot of time that are getting those wonderful twist outs that we see. I saw one earlier and I wanted to go over and touch it, but I said, I better stay over here. They're eating. All right, so then, now we've talked about 1 through 4. So what was 1 again? Y'all shout it out. Straight. What was 2? What was 3? Curl. And what was 4? Kinky. Kinky, and it's tight, curl. And when you straighten it out, the 3 categories displays what kind of a pattern? And the 4 category has, right on. That's That's what I want. That's why we talking today, so we can get this. All right? So then we have subcategories of A, B, and C. All right? A, literally, is fine. Fine hair. Who deals with fine hair in here? Fine hair. When I talk about the circumference of the hair, I'm talking about if you look right on a strand, or if you take a strand from your head and take a strand from her head and someone else, and you hold them up and you look at them, one's going to be thinner than the other. That's what I mean by fine hair. I don't mean the lack of hair, because in a lot of cases, there's hair that's actually missing from follicles, which makes your hair appear fine. So that's not fine. Fine is actually looking at the strand and seeing if it's skinnier than the other ones, okay? So now, who deals with fine hair? Okay, so I have fine hair also. Can you believe that? I do. It's fine on the sides. Yeah, I just have a lot of hair strands, exactly. So medium is actually medium. When you look at it, it's going to be a medium width in size. You hold it next to a fine, it'll be medium. And coarse is going to be thick, right? It's going to be thicker than all of them. It's the largest circumference. If you look at it head on or under a microscope, it's going to be the biggest circle you see, okay? So A is what? Fine. B is what? And C is coarse. Right, so now when you identify your textures, you should be able to look at it, wet it, smooth it down, and see it. Does it make an S? Oh, I'm in the 3 category. My strands are medium, so I'm a 3B. Got it? Ah, that's the aha moment I was talking about. Microphone, please. Yeah, because I want everybody to hear your question, that's why.
My hair is coarse, and so I'm like 3 and as tight as it can get. So what would that be?
You said your hair is coarse and it's 3. It's very, very thick. Wait, say it again. It's a 3.
It's thick.
It's very thick, like the strands are thick. And the curl is a curl, right?
Yeah.
When you smooth it down and wet it. Come here. I don't know about that. She's like, I'll come too. No, your hair is actually, your strands are fine to medium. They're fine to medium. I mean, can you look at that and see? I don't know, you guys probably can't see from back there, but they are fine. That's why they're kind of flying away like that. But they are fine, and you may have some coarse in some area. No, it's fine. It's medium, actually, and fine. So what is it? Your hair is probably a 3A and B. Yeah, but without wetting, it's hard to see. You got a lot of hair strands, though. Yeah. So that's that. Y'all understand, kinda? Kinda, no? Oh, she said I lost my hair strands. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is to test. I mean, and you can reach out to me on Facebook and on the Hair Whisperer, under the Hair Whisperer Tendai. And, ask me questions if you want to do that. And also, something that to help you hydrate your hair is this product right here, my Whisper Whip. That's what it does. When you go in and you can use it as a cleansing agent and to define your curls and to make it, that's how I got my hair like this. You use your fingers and work it out. And we'll talk more about that as we move on, okay? All right. Anybody else have questions for me thus far? Okay. Okay, microphone, hold on.
You didn't even go anywhere. Okay, so when I do my hair and I moisturize it like if I wake up if I do it at night and I wake up in the morning, it's dry again. I just wanted to stay moisturized for like 3 days. How can I do that?
Okay, so I think you're speaking of moisturizing and actually styling are 2 different things. You're thinking about why does my hair when it's wet look like this and then it dries, it's totally different. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean when I touch it, like like when I put these in last night, I was like, oh my God, it feels so good, buttery smooth. And I woke up this morning and it literally crunched.
Oh, okay, what did you use?
I used some water and some oil and some coconut oil, and then I used some shea butter stuff.
All right, so here we go. Here we go, y'all. No, she said everything I heard on YouTube. I'm about to get you right now. Okay, so this is where professional cosmetology and kitchen services are different, okay? So, no, seriously. I want you guys to understand this. This is the part that gets me. All right, so when you are natural, when you go to the salon, a lot of times they shampoo your hair, they put conditioner on your hair, they put you under the dryer. Why do you guys think you go under the dryer? To do what? Open and close what? Your hair cuticles. That's my brother talking about the cuticles. Right on. That's my brother Desi. He owns St. Charles Barber College. You cheating. You already know the answers. No, but seriously, you're opening your hair, if you look at it under a microscope, it has like these shingles, these shafts like this, right? When you wet them, they open up like this. All right? When you open them, once they're open, our job is to put things inside of that hair strand to make them softer, to actually hydrate the cuticle layer of your hair. So then when we go in and we put the dryer on it, it makes it get in there really well. We go back in, rinse it with cool water, and it closes back down and locks the moisture in. What you told me is I wet my hair, okay? I put oil on my hair, which you covered up the follicles before you even put any moisture in it. And a lot of times the oils have silicones in them, okay, because they're not really raw all the time like they say, organic and all this stuff. A lot of times they have silicones in it, which that's not the worst thing in the world. In some cases, they're needed. So when you put that on your hair, you've actually covered up the follicle. Therefore, nothing has gotten into it to moisturize it. And then you didn't really seal it back down. So whatever was there, you slept on a cotton pillowcase. I'm not sure. You have a satin, well, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing. So you're lucky that you have a satin scarf because it's not drier than it could be. Okay, but the starting point as far as moisturizing it, it starts by conditioning properly and doing all of that. I'm going back to the Whisper Whip again. This is why I created this, because so many people were coming in and shampooing their hair. Shampoos have sulfates and phosphates and different things in it, which are detergents. They actually dry your hair. They dry your hair out. They're designed to pull oils from your hair. And people who naturally produce a lot of oil in their hair, what category was that? And okay, that slides down because it's looser, they need to remove oils from their hair. All right, we became so used to putting shampoos in our hair and agitating it and thinking the bubbles are making it clean, but our hair is already dry. So then you go in with more agents to dry it out even more, when in essence you should be using some type of a cleansing cream or moisturizing cream to clean your hair for more time. So I would usually recommend people do 3 weeks of the co-washing and then degrease or to get the debris out with, break down that residue with a shampoo, a moisturizing shampoo. I recommend the UB Natural Moisture Lock shampoo. I use it. It is wonderful on my clients. Shampoo once or twice with that, rinse it back out, and go back in with your conditioner and your styling agents. So I would Whisper Whip it for 3 weeks, and then I will get my shampoos and go in and do what I need to do from there. Okay? Okay, so there's two different things. Your scalp is like skin. Your scalp is made of skin. Now, it's two different types of skin. The skin on your scalp is thicker, is designed to create larger hair appendages that come out, so you don't grow the same type of hair on here. In your scalp, when you guys see different funguses and things, we're going to get to that. I don't want to get too far into it. But a lot of times you're oiling your scalp because, oh, I've got flaking, I got dry skin. A lot of times when you have dry skin on your body or a rash on your body, it's not because your skin is just dry and didn't put lotion on. A lot of times there is a disorder going on there. So a lot of times that's what's happening in your scalp, and you're scratching this flaky patch and trying to put grease on it to combat the flakiness, but it's trying to heal from being damaged years back, and it never stops. It just keeps going until you actually counteract it with an antifungal cream, okay? Okay, say that again.
Co-wash weekly?
Depending on your texture, yes. You can almost kind of feel when you need it. With the co-washing, if your hair is starting to dry out, like with me, I do mine once a week. I'll do it probably Sunday, go in with the co-wash, rinse it. By Friday, I'm loving my hair because it's back out big, okay? Because this is old, actually. Well, yeah, I co-washed it yesterday. But, you know, it starts to fro out the way I want it to. And it has like a little bit of a buildup, which makes my hair look thicker. So I like that. And then by the end of the week, I go in and co-wash it once a week and rinse it out.
So daily, are you just going through your hair with your finger?
No, actually what I do is when I get in the shower, I let the water hit it a little bit. I shake it out and I do everything else. And by the time I leave for the day, it's drying. And it dries like that without disturbing the curl patterns. Okay? I want to keep on moving forward. Let me keep on moving forward. This is a hair fact. Each day, we shed hair approximately 100 strands of hair a day. This is a normal and part of the natural renewal process. Around 100,000 active hair follicles, losing such a small number daily doesn't present any visible changes or damages in the hair's density or coverage, okay? So if we kept every single strand we had on our head from the time we were born, yeah, we'd be chia pets. It's not supposed to be that way. So we actually shed and it replenishes, and that's a normal shed. If you get anything more than that, it could be something that really needs to be looked at by a professional, okay? However, advanced hair thinning and hair loss affects millions of people throughout the world. And there are many reasons why this the hair loss is happening. There could be scalp or fungal infections from leaving a weave-in too long, okay? Glue, braiding too tight, stress, also medication, and chemical burns, okay? I want to go back to this fungus that we were talking about. Now, who has ever had a relaxer in here? Raise your hand if you've had a relaxer. Wow. Kenny, for real, you had one? He talking about, yeah, well, guys too. Well, all right, so if you had a relaxer in your lifetime, who's ever been burned by a relaxer or had it in too long, okay? Who has dealt with chemical like burns and the sores and bald spots and things like that? Yeah. All right. So a lot of times, and I'm not saying every single time, but I have seen in many women where the hair follicles, people have been told, hey, my hair won't grow back. I went to the dermatologist. They said it won't grow back. It's just not going to happen. But I've seen people come in, and I would look at it like with my glasses and just really take a look and feel it. And I noticed that there are hair follicles there. Now, why they weren't active, I was not sure at one point. But then I started reading some things about hair thinning, and I actually stumbled upon the monostat 7, which is the antifungal bacterial, cream for yeast infections, right? What happens, they said that if you oil your scalp with that mixed with a little coconut oil, it would actually kill the fungus that was growing on your scalp from your scalp and skin being the levels of pH is being pushed too far one way or the other. So what happens is, in any chemical service, you have the center where the pH balance is correct. Right, Dad? pH balance is correct in the center. So to the right, you have a more acidic, and to the left is more alkaline, or it may be vice versa. But one way is pushed either too far one way or the other. And that's what happens when you get a curl or a relaxer or anything like that. It's pushed one way, and that's what gives you that physical change in your hair to make it straight. So with the physical change, you're loving that. But also on your scalp, it's being changed as well. How many have gotten home relaxers? How many have done your relaxers at home? Okay. So one thing is when you go into a salon, you notice there's a hard pressure on the water hose, right? The reason it's that way is because we are basically power washing product out of your hair and off your scalp. The hair is very thick. The water hose the pressure has to be hard so we can really get it out, and it has to be rinsed thoroughly. Not only that, you have to go in with a shampoo, pH balanced neutralizing shampoo, to actually shampoo your hair. How many of you actually skip the neutralizing shampoo and say, I don't have none, so I'm going to use regular? Some people have done that, even in salons, to say the least. But some people have. Anyway, you do that or not shampoo it well enough with the neutralizer shampoo, and then the fungus that starts to grow is because it's been pushed too far one way or another on the pH scale. Does that make sense? So you have a fungus that's growing in your scalp, and it does not stop. It keeps going because the fungus has to be actually brought back to balance. It has to be killed. So with the antifungal cream, you was using the monostat 7. I actually started using it on some people, and it does work. It does. I've seen hair grow. My mom is a testimony. A few other people that have actually, it's worked on, and it's, we're seeing a lot of, growth. So that's a great thing. Anybody have questions about that so far? Alopecia, it could be part of that. Sometimes it's from stress, and if that's the case, or it could be something internally, and that's something you may want to talk to Dr. Brian about as well, because it could be something internally that's going on. I know biotin helps out a lot internally. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
They had the flakiness on their scalp. and they were told they have reactive dermatitis. Is that anything that resembles the fungus that you're talking about?
Absolutely. Let's break that word down. Derma is skin. Titus. Itis is inflammation.
Okay.
So it's been pushed too far one way, and it's inflamed, and it starts to flake. It's trying to heal. And that's where the flakes are coming from. Anytime you burn yourself, and when it starts to scab over, what happens? It starts itching. You're scratching it, and the flakes come off, and eventually it heals if it's in the right conditions, right?